Okay, we're recording. Alrighty, so when last we saw our not intrepid heroes, I don't think that's the language we should use anymore. When last we saw our some intrepid heroes and a whole stack of people who are rapidly becoming the personifications of not necessarily good things,
Mm.
um, we were left uh, in Flagianto.
Mm.
Not again.
If I may alliterate slightly. Um, for when last we saw our heroes, Reginald had. Did you actually get the knife off Eliza? I can't remember, and I was desperately resisting.
So I had the paintbrush and I had managed to disarm Eliza, I think, and
Yeah,
spin her away
doing
with a
your
very
doing your
nice two-step and twirl.
doing your
So
doing your
yes,
dance moves thing.
it was a successful evening just for that from my point.
So we should probably just quickly calibrate so everyone knows exactly where they're at. And to some extent, I can't remember, so it'd be good. I was listening to the YouTube video and I didn't quite get to the end before we started. Um, so as I recall, Lady Purbeck has lashed or trapped Eliza with the barbed whip. That
Yes.
was the scepter that
Yeah.
happily turned into the whip.
hmm
Um, indeed, lashings of love it is. Thank you, Jay. Um, Reginald, following Lady Purbeck's direction, had disarmed Eliza from the copper sacrificial blade, which Eliza had used to kill Valaquin by stabbing them repeatedly, yelling, I give this sacrifice to Togherini, because that's what we're doing now. Sorry, Jay, I tried to channel what you would do, and I feel I came as close as I could get without being you. So
The fact that you stabbed the body multiple times after it died, you nailed it.
thank
It
you.
was
I
like you
was
were in the
I
room,
was
Joe.
I was squealing at my computer screen.
Yeah, good.
It was like you were
Good,
in the
because
room.
nothing says I'm a good person like celebrating the multiple stabbing death of someone. Anyway, so that's where you guys were at. Uh, the rector was actually attempting to banish Togherini, who was coming closer as Eliza had been offering up this great sacrifice and was trying to cast the demon back. The one person I'm not sure what they were doing. Lily, can you? I'm sure you can. But what was Georgiana doing in all of this?
So from my notes, Georgiana called on Sarah Brown to help warding off the Death Angel, or what she thinks is the Death Angel, because she had quite a few fumbled rolls there. It Sarah casts a spell and it makes it, go away. The others feel as if a load was lifted from their shoulders as it goes. And I think while she was doing this, that was while Lady Purbeck was punishing Eliza. According to the notes, Reginald did manage to tie up Eliza. He tore a strip of cloth, tied her hands, and took the. Actually, I don't know if he took the dagger or not, but he tied her hands up. And the rector, I've got his saw the shade of Caravaggio,
Yeah,
and the death figure retreating, and then he decided to help banish it.
yeah, to
Yeah,
drive it further back.
that's right.
Yeah. Okay, and I have a power check from him. I have a charm check from Reginald. Uh, Whatever it was, didn't see. Yeah. All
Just to
right.
clarify, there was a charm and a dance success.
Charm and a dance. Sorry, of course. Of course. So, with all of that in mind, I think we'll start where we probably should at this point. Eliza. To grant, if I may, to grant Eliza back their agency in this dance macabre. What will you do? You are wrapped in the in sort of this spined, leathered cord, the whip, um, and it's constricting you. It's causing you pain. It's definitively not fun. There is also, though, a broader sense that you are being constrained. Like, that this is order and discipline and the patriarchy incarnate. What, if anything, would you like to do?
I have had some time to think about this.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to go for the non-nuclear option to start with.
Generous.
Because I kind of want to see where it leads us, but I always got something in my back pocket. Um, uh, I think that that we've seen Eliza be like kind of taken, kind of danced away, but in kind of like I imagine quite a strong and kind of uh like a pushing dance, kind of like she's been swept off her feet physically and moved into a space, pushed down to a kneeling position and bound. Her dagger, her one last kind of like sanctuary has been taken from her, and she feels these barbed, well, the barbs of this whip continually constricting her, sapping her of not only her, ability to move freely and her ability to do what she wishes, but also, on a more metaphysical level, she kind of feels herself retreating as the pain comes. And as the kind of blood begins to kind of like fall, her clothes are becoming ripped, blood is starting to seep through and drip onto the floor as she has her hands tied in front of her and is like kind of, hunched down, kind of wincing and moving away, trying to make herself smaller to get away from the pain, and looks up to Lady Purbeck, who has this look of um I don't like this, but I have to do it. And also there's a slightness in that of you know why. And I think that as Eliza sees no comfort in Lady Purbeck, she looks around to the others. She sees the rector kind of like sitting behind her, kind of watching this scene play out. Reginald is perhaps kind of like snatching glances, but looking away, not really wanting to be fully complicit in what he has done, and not really, really fully wanting to take that moral responsibility for the harmful capture and torture of a woman. And then she kind of sees Georgiana just kind of staring with this mournful look. I think it's the same look that Georgiana has had for probably this entire adventure of just not knowing what to do and feeling trapped by circumstance, a feeling that she has herself. And whereas Georgiana has kind of given into trying to solve the mystery, instead, Eliza has kind of given in to become what this place is. And so I think that in that vein, her first act will be to become the weeping angel. And I think that, she's in that same pose that the angel was when it was being whipped. And I think that she starts off, by just kind of turning around, looking around to each and every individual person, never stopping on one person at once, but with a pleading look in her eyes, just being like, and I think that yeah, I think that she wants to try either, like either a skill roll or just role playing that through, I think. And also everyone in the chat, tell me how good that was. So yeah, I think she just looks around and yeah, people can respond how they want to respond.
All right. Well, you know, extra points for acting.
Thank you.
Why don't we start with Reginald, actually? Why don't we start with Reginald? So, Reginald, you're pretty much just the only normal person left.
That's not something that Reginald is used to. He, being an actor, he is a little bit thing. So Reginald has been thinking on his feet. He had a plan that maybe if things go really south, then at least he and the rector might survive. But the paintbrush that I managed to get from
Valaquin, yeah.
I feel like that might be something. I don't know. He's sort of clutching at straws. As Eliza starts to fall apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reginald is a good actor. He has seen good acting before. He also has seen Eliza go from quite nice and lovely to murderous and very dangerous. He obviously is still protective as he can, as much as he is able. He thinks that is falling because the women in the party are easily the strength of this party, and he's fine with that, but he's struggling to how to save himself but everyone else. All he can think of is the paintbrush is the artist still there?
Okay, so Valaquin, who you came,
no, he's dead.
He's dead.
Right.
Stab.
Yeah.
Caravaggio is he still there?
Because that's the
yes,
thing.
because you've still got his paintbrush.
I do have his paintbrush. So
Caravaggio. Yeah.
Once, because I think last time I was a little bit unsure whether the Valaquin was dead. Now looking at the blood, seeing that he hasn't moved and he is definitely dead.
Yeah.
Reginald is going back to what he thinks he saw initially, or what he heard originally about the painter wanting his brush back. Mm-hmm. And so he is going to try and find the painter, neatly sidestep the desperate Miss Hastings, and his action will be to try and I keep forgetting the fucking painter's name. Sorry, Caravaggio. Yeah. And he's going to, in desperation, try and here, I have your paintbrush. This is what you need. You must, can you stop this? You must help. They are going mad. I need your help. So he is besieging Caravaggio to do something, whatever he can, to make this end. He doesn't know if this will work, but it's the only thing he can think of at this point.
Sounds
so
good
he will
to
go
me.
to him and give him that paintbrush.
Can you, just because you have never used it and you have opened the door to using it, can you make an acting roll, please?
I used it didn't I use it last time? I'll probably not have. Let me have a look. Yeah. There's surely no problem here. Okay, acting. Let's do this.
Hey, it's the double dice.
Woohoo!
So,
I will show you
Eliza, just for fun and giggles, are you? How much of a truth bomb are you dropping on these people, and how much are you acting? Because I actually genuinely don't know, so I'm asking. Because Reginald is now, equipped to tell the difference. You can, of course, if you would like, make a what would it be? Charm or is it persuade? Yeah, persuade. Charm or persuade roll, or acting, actually, for that matter, if you have that skill.
Mm.
Or you can just say.
I feel like Jay didn't hear or
Oh,
realize it was
me?
Yeah, that was
Is
all
it me?
directed at you.
Oh, I thought it was directed at Reginald. I was like, why isn't Reginald doing anything? What's going on?
No, Jay. It's you, buddy.
Sorry.
It's
Right.
you.
Sorry, please repeat. I was totally zoning out.
Okay. Reginald has made a hard success on their acting role.
Right, right.
Are you? So I'm giving you a choice. You can
Mhm.
make a skill roll, or you can just say how much of what Eliza just presented is
Mhm.
actually true, i.e., Eliza is genuinely feeling it. And of course,
Mhm.
you're allowed to make a skill roll if you would like to dissemble, for
Mm.
want of better language.
Mm.
And you can roll either an acting, charm, or persuade roll. That's what I'm looking
Mhm.
for.
Mhm.
Completely up to you if you would like to do that. Or you can just say, no, she's really feeling that, and that's fine.
I mean, I think that she is feeling it,
Yep.
but I think she's feeling a lot of things. I think she's feeling that like she doesn't want to be curtailed. She doesn't want to be stuck in this situation. She doesn't want to be hurt, but she also like yeah, I think it is definitely like her trying to make sure that she can get out of her current situation more than like she hasn't taken any hit points or damage yet, right? So I think that like it is more yeah, trying to persuade. So I will roll persuasion
Sure.
on that.
Yep.
Great.
And
Well, that's an 87. You know, I'm gonna push it
okay.
because if everything goes wrong, then I get to do my nuclear option. Regular
It's
success.
a regular success, which means that Reginald can see through it because they got a hard success.
Okay.
So I think, if I may, to sort
Mm-hmm.
of simplify,
Yeah.
so Eliza is genuinely feeling pain and genuinely uncomfortable. I think that's all very true. I think, although just reading between the lines, Eliza is also very consciously trying to manipulate, magnify the perception of that experience to achieve an outcome, which is to be freed from the whip, and which may then result in Eliza doing other less good things down the road. Noting that, Reginald, you went to, so you sort of see that, but that wasn't your main game. Your main game was giving the paintbrush to Caravaggio, which you do. They are not resisting, they are not making it hard, they're right there, you can just give them the paintbrush. The moment you give them the paintbrush, all of the scene runs down like paint running off the side of a wall or a canvas. The entire background, everything you can see, runs together and falls to the ground. You find yourselves back where you started, in the room, the library, in the museum. However, you are changed. You are definitively different. Lady Purbeck is taller than she was before, and somehow bigger in presence than she was before. Eliza, all of your clothes are black.
Obsessed.
The rector has bandages on their hands, which you can see blood dripping through in the form of stigmata.
Yay.
Georgiana, you look older and your hair is now a kind of brown color. Reginald, you kind of look the way you did when you left.
When that happens, the first thing Reginald does is he goes to Eliza and embraces her. He says, "Mon chéri, I did this for you. Are you okay? Okay?" And he tries to genuinely. He's worried about her. I see. This is not you. This is what has happened to us. We must be strong, but we must also be fragile. Not just you, but all of us. You are very strong. All of you are very strong, but no one can do this alone. Please. And he sort of gives her a hug. She probably tenses, I expect. He then relaxes and just does a very gentle, one hand twirl, sort of release from as if from a dance. But he specifically does that for Eliza because he thinks she's the most in danger at this point.
Can I ask, am I still like wrapped up in whips or nah?
No.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that was
Good
clear.
question though. Fair point.
Yeah.
Yep. Well made.
Yeah.
Yep. Well made.
Yeah. I think that like when you hug her just for that brief moment, I think that there probably is a particularly fecund smell because she's getting closer to that kind of death aura. But I think that and I also think that she's gotten slighter in frame. Like I think that she hasn't necessarily gotten bigger or what have you, but it's as if like part of her mass has kind of gone, just become closer to a shadow. And I think that, although it is perhaps a bit more bony than before, she does hug you back and she whispers, "Thank goodness. Thank you." And I do think she genuinely means it because she didn't want to do anything drastic. She could try at least, but I don't think that's what she would prefer. I think that even though she's kind of going insane, I think that's kind of there's that split personality piece where when things don't make sense, she'll kind of lean on the Toggerini piece because that all makes sense. In her mind, it's all completely sensical. But I think that you're seeing that brief moment of her coming back to herself, the person who wants to solve the mystery, and who wants to figure out the puzzle of this place. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm going to do something because it's been a number of sessions. So I'm actually, now that you've come back, I'm going to get you all to, I'm going to turn on the advancement button and get you all to make rolls against progression.
Amazing.
So I need to do that here, I'm pretty sure. Is that it?
Sorry, Tom, I know, is anyone else wounded apart from me? I think the rector is.
I'd actually taken 4 wounds.
Okay, yeah. So if anyone has any, I've got some first aid. If anyone else has any and they're willing to try that on me, I'd be very grateful. I'm down 5 out of 10. So.
Well, why don't we do the advancements and then you can see whether you get the healing.
Okay, development phase.
Great.
Blink.
We can also recover luck points, right?
Yes, my art and craft went up. I obviously learned something.
Yes, in answer to your question.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, luck not recovered. Well,
Listen, religion. Excellent.
My God.
Wow, Reginald had a good one.
wow. I really could have used that occult, but oh well.
Dancing upgraded, Reginald. Dancing upgraded. It's what we wanted.
What?
And recover luck points, hey?
Luck not recovered. Luck not recovered.
Not feeling lucky right now.
So I got my luck back, but not one thing advanced.
It is.
It's a cruel system sometimes. It really is.
Equal mistress.
So the rector got better at art and craft, listening, a continuing growth area, and religion. Georgiana got reassure and spot hidden upgrades. Georgiana Villiers got nothing. And he had 3 skills. Interesting. Art and craft, dancing, dodge, and spot hidden. Library use, listen, both went up. And the only person, but in response though, Georgiana, the Dowager was the only one to get an upgrade in luck.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a reasonably chunky upgrade. 7 points. Nicely done. All right. Everyone done their things?
Okay, I'm just going to just get some water. I'll be right back, but you can just keep
No
going.
worries. All right. Does anyone have what is it? Not medicine. First aid. I think
Yeah, I've got first aid.
for Reginald.
Yeah, I've got about 33 points, but that's about it.
Georgiana
Yeah.
could do first aid or medicine, whichever.
Oh, that's right. You're actually a you got doctoring skills. I forgot
Except medicine takes an hour.
that. That's okay.
So mine.
You've got a bit of time.
Yeah, I might try first aid if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I am back.
Okay, we're just getting Georgiana's just ministering to Reginald. Unsuccessfully.
Okay.
Well, I should try doing some first aid on the rector as an attempt to also have a chance to talk to him.
Go
Sure, I'm
for it.
going to let you get close to me.
Oh, yeah.
I must minister to you, sir. No, stay away. Stay away.
Exactly. Last time she swung her mace at me. Have you still got your mace? No?
But
Are you still missing it, gripping for it?
no. I'm looking thunderous though in the direction of Eliza.
Yeah. That's not going to end well.
Oh, yeah. If anybody did a spot hidden, they'll be seeing me doing a lot of eye rolling about Eliza and her drama.
Okay, so got that.
Yes, I could use some first aid or ministrations of some sort.
Well, I got 14, so
14
got
in
it.
what?
I got a double 2
You
stars.
healed
that
1 point.
That was your roll. Okay.
You got 1 hit point back.
That's it.
That's
Wow.
it.
That apparently is.
Okay.
If you do, mind you, Georgiana can do medicine, which will heal you 1d3 back.
That'd be nice.
I think I have sidled up to my cousin while you've been getting your first aid, and just been like, "It's so good that we're out of that place. I don't know quite what came over me, cousin, but I am wounded. Doubt is not from that whip of our poor Lady Purbeck."
Just a question. Seeing as you said that Eliza hadn't actually taken damage, have the wounds vanished now that we're out of the world, or are they still there?
Ooh. That's an interesting question.
Because I wasn't physically getting any penalty from my wounds, and I couldn't heal them inside the picture.
Correct.
Inside the mind.
Oh, I took my damage from getting punched in the face by Marielle Dubois, aka the Angel, right?
Yes, when you were in the cafe. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, instead of what I just said, I think I'll just like I'll still say that, but then I'll be like, oh no, maybe it was. Oh, I was punched.
I was punched. No. So, now it's all gone very. So, a couple of things. So, it's gone very quiet outside now. So you may recall that when you were last here, there was screaming and crying and all of those sorts of noises. It's now very quiet. You can just hear a low chant coming from outside.
Hmm.
Nothing to see here. Let us make our way home, huh?
Could Georgiana quietly go over to the door and maybe press her ear against it and try to make out what the chanting is?
Absolutely. Make a listen roll for me, please.
I bet it's not going to be good if I succeed.
It's Cthulhu. Or cult Cthulhu. Anyway, either way, it's that.
Oh.
Oh, do you want to spend the 2 luck points to drag you kicking and screaming into the centre of the food brat? To quote Terry Pratchett, if I may.
Well, seeing as how much luck do I have? Okay, sure.
I mean, if like I can
Well-
roll instead because I also have pretty good listen if we go together.
I have a
Yeah, someone else can roll.
Yeah. I'll roll. I'll come with Georgiana. So I did improve my listen just a little bit.
Viscountess,
Yes.
could I perhaps trouble you to see if you might be able to bind my wounds a little, please?
I will have a go.
Give it a go. Come on.
No.
Not so good. Not worse, but I thank you. Thank you for your administrations.
You went to the scary lady and you...
Well, they're all scary.
That's true. Fair okay. Eliza, you can hear perfectly. It's almost like they're singing your song.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Tell me what ditty they're singing.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, so you can make out a bunch of things that weren't apparent when you were just casually hearing. One, what at first was just, that kind of, there was a low chant. You can now divide quite distinctly between two sets of voices. One voice, male, quite commanding, and it's a kind of what do you call it? Callback or whatever the right language is, where the person says the thing or sings the thing and then everyone sings the same thing back. It's that kind of thing. So there's a person leading the chant. They're saying the words, and then it's like for those of us who spent a fair amount of time in church, it's when the priest says the words and everyone repeats them back, the catechism, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. So there's two sets of voices. There's a man's voice, deep, heavy, dripping, speaking in Latin, French, and words maybe that go beyond any known language. The other voices, though, and to your ear very clearly, these are wet, hollow voices. These are the voices of the dead. These are the voices of corpses singing in return. And you realize that the reason you can no longer hear crying and screaming and begging is because all the people who were out there have been slaughtered/sacrificed and somehow bound to the will of Togarini and Valaquin.
Who's the second voice?
It's actually the group. So
it's the group. Okay, cool.
So it's the group of corpses.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that male voice is Valaquin.
You are assuming that. Yep. That's a fair assumption to make.
Does the room that we're in, there was some changes last time we came back from Paris. Has the room changed again?
Oh, that's right. Oh, it's all there. Yeah, definitely. The first thing you know, Reginald, and you probably notice them. You probably are the first one to notice. Partially because you're the only one who hasn't changed, so it's most recognizable to you. One, obviously, you recognize everyone else looks different. Everyone else. You're not completely sure they've noticed, but you definitively notice.
I'm not saying a word.
The second thing you notice is in accordance with what was happening last time. So, the drapes were heavier, more medieval. The desks were older, more medieval. Everything was more medieval. Now that is still true, but it's wetter and darker and damper and like I mean, Reginald doesn't need a guidebook. You are definitively falling to hell.
Yeah. So in the two little scenes, little like he says, as if they weren't about to die, everything had a sort of a quality of being in a painting. Is that sort of true of where we are now?
No.
No. Okay.
No, this is definitively real and physical. It's just changing.
Okay. So the two doorways that we had, that one that went to Paris and one went to Milan, are they still on those scenes?
No.
Okay. So have they reverted back to their normal setup?
No.
Okay.
Perhaps I can stop saying no and say what it is. So the hallway has now flipped, and you can feel a hot wind coming down the hallway. You can hear the sound of sand being pushed along the ground. You can hear in the distance a slight a voice singing something into the wind. It is in the form of a chant. It is spoken in a language you don't recognize, definitively. But it doesn't have the same resonance or indeed discomfort that listening to the voices outside has. And when you smell the breeze coming down that corridor, it's dry, and it smells of a richness of scent that you are not well, I mean, you're used to Paris in the 1800s, so and London for that matter. This smell is much nicer than that. Not a high bar, but it is definitively a smell.
And the other smaller room that went to Milan, is that still a room again, or?
It's dark, like pitch black.
Okay. Reginald is starting to take his role as the guide a bit more seriously, and he feels that he has to find a way for us. So let me think on that for a second while everyone else does what they're doing.
Rector, what would you like to do?
All right. So over at the door is Georgiana and Eliza.
Yep, they've both got their ears to the door and they're muttering.
All right. Cool. They can stay over there because I have no interest in hanging out with them right now.
Yep.
Lady Purbeck's kind of here.
Yep.
I guess I'd kind of be watching Reginald because he seems to be the most trustworthy anchored person, and what he's actually doing.
Okay, well,
I'll just go over to him and talk about what he's doing. Like what's going on?
Well, Reginald would point out the two options that way. His preference would be to not go through the barricaded door where all the voices are. If we could, he'd like to find another way out. But with those two, maybe the rector could have a listen or a smell of the two, the hallway particularly, and see maybe if that has any.
With that sand and wind and everything there.
Yeah, maybe just to see.
Oh,
I was thinking
that's Morocco.
Right. That's. I hear the weather is beautiful there.
I'm assuming I'm smelling like Middle Eastern scents. The individual that I identified as death came from the Atlas Mountains.
Oh.
This is likely Morocco. And I agree we should not go in through that door. That is drawing the two sisters. Cousins.
Okay, then I think we must Morocco. It must be, huh? Ladies.
Could I, before we kind of rejoin and hear that, um, uh, firstly, I would like to ask Georgiana whether or not can you help me with some of the wounds that I have received? I'm still quite
Oh,
badly injured, cousin.
okay, Georgiana will do first aid on Eliza.
Could I have medicine instead?
Uh, I
Oh my
mean,
God.
oh,
Yeah. Well,
uh,
well.
actually, that sorry, I did already roll it, but Thomas, so medicine takes 1 hour to do, so maybe I should be rolling first aid and I should scrub that one.
No, I think that's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
But you did roll a very good success.
Oh, okay, I did succeed.
Yes.
Yeah, you got a
Wow.
extreme success.
Well, this is the first thing that succeeded in a very long time, so
Oh, I think I think maybe Georgiana doesn't realize how good she is at this craft. Like, I think that maybe in another time she might have been like picked to become a doctor if we were maybe a few hundred years in the future. And I think that that she's kind of like, she's obviously also listening at the door. She absent-mindedly, tends to my wounds with like a practiced hand and like, a deftness of mind that I don't think that a lot of people have. And I think that Eliza is incredibly grateful to her because honestly, at this point, she's looking around being like, everybody else thinks I'm insane and and dangerous. How many hit points do I get back? 1d3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'll roll a d6 and halve it. Oops. Yay, I get 3,
Yay.
which means I am back to maximum.
Look at you, all healed up.
I love that. Ready for some trouble.
Yeah.
Ready for
Uh,
trouble.
I think that while Georgiana's doing that, could I attempt a Cthulhu Mythos roll to understand the chant?
You may. That
Cool.
is definitively within the remit of the Cthulhu Mythos skill.
Great. I'm probably not going to, but we'll see how we go. No, 31.
Not today.
Not today. I could spend luck, but I won't.
Take a bit of luck, but I like the ambition.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we hear now
Yep.
what Reginald had said, and I kind of I put my hand on Georgiana to kind of like I kind of get up first and I steady her as she kind of gets up. Um, she was probably like perhaps kneeling or something, tending to my wounds, and I just call across and say, "We're coming. Where are we? Where are we off to this time, our French friend?"
Mademoiselle, as you know, I'm from the Low Countries, but thank you. Viscountess, are you well? Are you okay? You look very regal right about now. Are you okay?
I shall be well in time. Thank you for your concern, Monsieur
But of
de
course,
Plessis.
but of course.
Lady Purbeck is still looking like a thundercloud. She's just been standing alone and really like isolated alone in the room and just basically glaring at everybody. But she so feels that drive to continue what she started with Eliza, to drive that dark spirit out of her. It's so close to the surface, but she can hear those chants outside too. She's not stupid. She's not going to start something in here which will draw attention to things. So she's trying to master that.
Okay. So,
and she can sense that the rector has now abandoned her. Or has she abandoned him? She's not really sure, but there is now this deep wall between them where once she would have leant on the rector, now she's feeling that internal scepter that she's leaning on herself.
And the rector is looking frail and still wounded as well. So
You're dripping from the stigmata,
he's
which,
not.
I deeply
Yeah.
want to, talk to you about, but also there's that wall there now, so I can't. So, and then Georgiana, she's just like, what? She can't comprehend what is happening with Georgiana, why she has changed and looks so different. She knows what's going on with Eliza. Like, it's just the symbol, like, she's turning into death. And, like, the death spirit is taking her over and must be driven out at the earliest opportunity. But this opportunity has passed her by. So, anyway, so
Reginald
in
will see
response
that.
to Reginald's
Right.
like,
Reginald
yes,
sees that the
in
Viscountess.
time I shall be well.
Reginald sees that the Viscountess needs some distraction, and we all need some direction. So he sort of gathers everyone around and says, "Okay, so the rector and I, we do not want to go out there. There's madness out there. Dead people, we assume, and voices and chanting. This way, there is a room that is completely black, which is not my preference. The other one, the hallway that was here before now, the rector suggests to me that it is, it might be, what did he say? Morocco? Yes,
Morocco,
the fabled lands of Morocco. So I feel we are getting close to the end, and he looks pointedly at everyone when he says that. We are getting close to the end of something here, and I feel that we need to see this through together. So whatever we are all thinking right now, let us put that to one side and remember that it is only us that we have to rely upon and care for each other. So let us go this way. If you will follow me, I will lead on. And so he, assuming everyone is sort of nodding and saying yes, he's going to go down the hallway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Lady Purbeck will sweep down the hallway after you. Straight back.
I love how strident you're playing it. It's so good.
I was trying to think of a marching order, but no one wants to be next to anyone else. So anyway, I'm going first. You guys can figure it out.
I think as well before like Eliza probably starts walking with like Georgiana and then decouples herself for but a moment as they pass that black door,
Yep.
the one that's dark.
Yep.
Because like when we've gone into the other doors, when we have gone in, is there a door going back out?
No, not that you've seen. You haven't really tried that on though, to be fair. You haven't like instantly turned around and tried to walk back out. So actually you don't know. You don't know. You've not tried it. You've kind of walked in and walked on. So
Is it possible to look at the blackness and try and make anything out inside the gloom?
absolutely. Of course
Great.
it
What
is.
skill would you like?
I think you should roll Cthulhu Mythos.
Wait, this oh,
Just roll your Cthulhu Mythos, please.
okay. All right. Is it intentional that I have that score?
Yeah.
Yay! I got exactly the score. That's so good. Okay, well, tell me what happens. I'm excited now. Holy shit.
Okay. You can tell that that darkness holds the final secret to Velaquin's relationship with Togarini.
I know that in my bones. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can feel Toggerini's presence in that space.
I think I call out to the others as they've kind of like started walking towards. They're perhaps at the threshold of the Morocco door. And I say, the final clue. It's in here. It's it. I feel it. It's inside this room.
Now,
Can't hear you, Rector.
I keep walking. It's just...
And you know what? I think Eliza just kind of nods in this like sorrowful way of there's something to be said around the dead being forgotten and overlooked. You know, kind of people just continue on with their lives, but they don't go back
How
and
many people
realize.
have you killed, Eliza? And now you're thinking about the dead.
Harsh.
I keep walking.
You saw Lady Purbeck strangle a woman alive, and yet you cling to her like some urchin.
Do I look like I'm clinging to her? She tried to kill me with a mace.
I don't just mean today.
Just because you have issues with Lady Purbeck, I have my own issues at the moment.
Such
Focus
as?
on your own way of dealing with it.
Such as?
I keep walking.
Exactly.
All right.
You're a supercilious little man who has attached himself to people, nay, women, who understand the world, and the word far better than you.
Hey.
And she walks into the darkness, alone if need be.
Wow. All right. Stepping
Excellent.
into the darkness. All right. Okay, so
that was so good. I enjoyed that a lot.
Okay, so Eliza just steps into the dark room. Reginald, do you want to make a navigate roll for me, please?
Oh, well, I actually have some of that. Okay.
You do now.
Do now.
Oh, not that much.
Not that much, no. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. Yep. No. You don't have any special insights?
Okay. Wow. PvP. Are we going to wait for Lily to come back?
Lily's dropped it.
Yeah, she said she's going to restart.
Oh, okay. I'm having some audio trouble. All right. Yep. Just saw it then. Okay. Then I will go to Lady Purbeck. Lady Purbeck, your ward has stepped into the darkness, gone from your sight. Are you happy? Sad?
No.
No.
Not happy.
Not
I
happy?
don't want to go in there. Not one little bit. Stepping into that inky blackness with no clue what is on the other side. But by the same token, I cannot bear the thought of her being out of my sight because good Lord knows what she's going to do with that devil inside her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 So are you gonna what are you gonna do? What are
you gonna give chase and attempt to have a final confrontation?
Gonna step in? Go in.
Very tempted.
The gauntlet's thrown, Lady Purbeck.
Yeah, she's going in.
Yes.
Like.
All right. I'll ask you just to have a look at your brawl skill and your size, just so you're aware.
Where's my size gone again? Okay.
Oh. Reginald looks at the rector and sighs deeply, shakes his head in sadness.
I know, I hear you, my friend.
Just so you've got an awareness of where you're at.
Yeah.
Rector, I think we must follow. I do not know that they need us for any safety, but I think they may be in need of your guidance spiritually and perhaps maybe mine emotionally. There is something happening. We know this. I do not think it will end well, but I do not think we can abandon them. What say you?
Very well. The flock has strayed. Again.
So is this it? Are you guys following the Lady Purbeck into
I was
the
just going to wait
darkness?
for Louis to come back and see if she had any other input.
That's
I mean,
true.
Reginald's pretty comfortable with the fact that understands that the control of what he's trying to lead, trying to guide. That's what he's trying to do. But at the end of the day, the power resides with the three ladies, and he is okay with that. But he thinks that we should be together, not apart. That's his thing. So he will do what he needs to do to try and, he thinks that's where our strength lies, regardless of what's happening.
Okay. Aha! She's Lily. Hello, Lily. Almost Lily.
Hey, sorry, the audio just went really weird for a bit.
Good.
And I was trying various things to get it to work, and then I just restarted, so it's okay now, I think. I hope.
No, that was just the role playing between Jess and Jay. It was just in tongues and
Actually, at first I literally thought that you were doing a voice effect, and then I realized it wasn't just the rector doing it. Yeah.
All right.
I was like, wow, that's really fitting for that bit. Wait, why is everyone sounding like that? And why is the background music sounding like that?
So just for your awareness, there's been a little bit of we were going to the Sirocco winds of the Atlas Mountains, but no, because why do that when you can go to the completely impenetrable darkness? I agree. Perfect choice. So Eliza and the rector had a bit of a dispute, and then Eliza just stepped into the darkness. Lady Purbeck has then noticed that Eliza stepped into the darkness, gone. What would Lady Purbeck say as she steps into the darkness? There would be something she would say. I feel.
Oh, what would she
say?
say?
She would say something.
Something like frightful child. Something like that, I think.
Yeah.
Wayward child.
Wayward child, beautiful. So the Lady Purbeck said wayward child and stormed into the darkness. And then the rector and Reginald had a quick chat and decided, I guess we're going into the darkness too, seemed to be the basic message. But we paused at that point in case Georgiana wants to do something else.
Seal up the darkness. No.
As tempting as that is, I mean, I'm pretty sure that she'd prefer to go to the Morocco thing, but that is more important to stay together as a group at this point. So she will, with Reginald and the rector, follow Eliza into whatever hell she is taking us into.
Again.
Again.
You'll be the first to die, Rector.
Have you seen my survival stats here?
I mean,
he's outlast
against demon, outrun the demonic hordes. In a
we have found the monsters, Rector. They're inside the house.
That'd actually be so funny if your cane was just an implement that you used for effect and you just had this amazing run speed.
I may just be the witness to your demise. That could be my role.
And
then back to the quiet life.
If I might, just before we do that, say as the rector goes in, sorry, I don't want to monopolize this, but I do want to stop because I've noticed the changes in everyone.
You have,
and I don't think everyone else has noticed those changes. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I would like to maybe gently grab Georgiana's hand and just whisper quietly to her, Mademoiselle, are you feeling okay? Are you feeling well? Is everything okay with you? you seem somewhat different to me. He's trying to get a grip on whether she knows something's changed or if anything had changed within herself.
I guess she'll just look at him. I guess that's a good question. Do they realize that they've changed? I mean, they haven't looked in mirrors or anything.
Georgiana knows that Sarah Brown is definitively, there.
Yeah. I guess Georgiana might not catch that there's actually something different about her appearance now. So she will probably just say, I think all of us have been changed by this experience and not for the better, Mr. Duplessis. Thank you for your concern.
And enchanté, mademoiselle, of course. And is it fair to say that Reginald would perhaps recognize that Georgiana looks more like Sarah Brown?
Yeah. It would be very fair to say that.
Okay, all right, cool. All right.
Out of curiosity, what color eyes did Sarah Brown have?
Good question. Let's go with grey, in accordance with her storm magic and general sea-born magic.
Okay. When Georgiana looks up at Reginald, can he see that one of her eyes is like really dark brown, which is her normal color, and one of them is grey?
He can absolutely see that.
He holds your gaze for a second, still holding your hand. But as soon as you reassure him, he knows something's wrong, but he doesn't play up to it. Of course, mademoiselle, please watch your step. And hopefully she goes in first, and then he just looks at the rector and says, we need to be very sharp, rector, for everyone's sake.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you all step into the darkness. You are in. Let me find the description. There is a long arching corridor in front of you. It's constructed from smooth plaster, and it resembles the inside of some great snail shell, slowly spiraling inwards. As you move forward, and I actually will note, I assume Eliza, who stepped through, doesn't hesitate, but just goes down the corridor. Like, I assume you don't wait. But it's actually a question.
No.
So
I just keep walking.
You're in front. Lady Purbeck then is behind you. And she doesn't wait either because she's pursuing you. And then the other three sort of all come together and might have more hesitancy/agency in this experience than either of you two. But you can feel the corridor curling and spiraling towards some center point. The walls are cracked, so as you move down through the spiral, they become more and more cracked and broken and damaged, where they started quite smooth when you first came in. The darkness, for what it's worth, is not a darkness that blocks your vision. It's a kind of twilight light experience as you move through it. It seems to go forever, this corridor. It takes what feels like hours to traverse. And yet at the same time, perhaps it only takes moments. Like, for each of you, the experience flickers between one end of that spectrum and the other. There are moments where you feel like you've literally been walking for meters, and then the next moment you feel like you've been at this for hours. You can hear screaming coming from beyond the walls. It's loud, it's constant, and it is full of pain. However, Eliza, you turn the corner first. And I should make the point, Lady Purbeck, no matter how much you try and catch up with Eliza, you always seem to be the same distance apart. It's like the universe is... the distance that you entered the universe is the distance that you have, and nothing you can do can change it. All of you can see each other in the sort of ahead of you, well, except for Eliza, but none of you can catch up. Eliza, you turn the corner. It's actually a scene not dissimilar to the one that you saw just what feels like minutes ago, might have been hours ago. There is a naked Valaquin on the floor. He is painting. He has a paintbrush in his hand. And directly in front of him is the painting The Tears of the Gerber. Floating around are the 8 other paintings that make up his collection. You can see on the ground in front of him are 3 great canvases, a great triptych being finalized. As you arrive, he places the final brushstrokes on the final of the 3 triptych, looks at you with joyful tears streaming down his face, and you can see that all of the paintings, but particularly the triptych, radiate with his power. This is more than just paintings. He's been building a spell bound in the paintings. He turns his head towards you and says euphorically, "Do you see?" Through parched and cracked lips. His face, as you realise, he has not drunk or eaten in many days while he's been painting. He looks like he's at death's door. And then he turns the paintbrush and slams it into his own eye, puncturing to the back of his skull, and collapses bleeding on top of the paintings.
Well, my question is, do I see?
Do you see?
The triptych, that's 3, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Triptych.
the 3 paintings,
Yeah.
does one of them bear an uncanny resemblance to me in any way? Or is it just, do I actually get any understanding? Would you like me to roll something?
No. You have an understanding. You are indeed on the very road that Valaquin has travelled. This is the end of Valaquin's road. This is the end of your road. This is the ultimate act of death magic. To die and crawl your way from hell back to the land of the living. To bind your magic and your soul to things you leave behind, to give you the gate that you might conquer death and return to life. Your own path to that question may be different. You may not be a painter. You might come with some other way to do this. But what Valaquin shows you in this moment, what Togarini shows you in this moment, is the ultimate path to power. At that point, Lady Purbeck, you come striding up behind Eliza. In a moment that confuses the bejesus out of you, Valaquin is kneeling on the floor. He's just finished his last painting. He turns to you euphorically and says, "Do you see?" Takes his paintbrush and slams it into his own skull. He collapses on the ground, thrashing, bleeding, dying. You can see in this moment the corruption of order that Valaquin represents. You can see how he twists what is natural and turns it into the unnatural, how he defies the natural order of things. how his corruption spreads and how it infects others.
So my hand is coming down very heavily onto Eliza's shoulder at this moment.
And it is a heavy hand.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
Heavier than it's ever felt. And digging my fingers into her shoulder joint, like to really grasp it. And I can feel how thin and bony she is, like she hasn't been before. And I I've been down to hiss in her ear. Is this what you want? This corruption? You think this is power? This is nothing. You will destroy yourself and us for this.
Eliza quite deftly and swiftly moves her hand in such a way to push, like to reach behind her and pushes deeply into the sternum of Lady Purbeck and grips a finger right under her ribcage and says, "This is real, Lady Purbeck. Substantial. Unlike your games of order, there is no such thing as order, because the world exists. You're delusional." And she kind of pushes back against her and turns around to face her.
Okay, so just as that scene is playing out, the other three of you arrive. You can see before you that effectively the same scene you've now seen many times. The scene of order and chaos in conflict, the scene of Lady Purbeck as the defender of what is acceptable, what is normal, what is proper. You see Eliza lashing out against it. All three of you, though, also see Valaquin. He's kneeling on the ground. He's just finished the last painting of his triptych. Floating around him are the 8 paintings that make up the majority of the collection, with the Tears of Dajiba hanging directly in front of him. He looks at all three of you and says, "Do you see?" He takes his paintbrush, he slams it through his eye into the back of his head. He falls to the ground, twisting, writhing, bending himself, screaming, crying from pain and agony. All three of you are transfixed by this moment. But for you, this is just death. It is nothing more than that. It is nothing less than that. This is a man cutting his life short for reasons that most of you can't understand. It doesn't have any special grace. It doesn't have any special meaning. It's just death. Okay. What would you like to do?
Reginald's first instinct would be having a sense of what's been talked about and what's happened previously with Elijah and the dead rising. And everywhere we've gone that he's painted, there have been dead, and that seems to be where all the power is. To see him do that, he probably makes the connection that that's where the power is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So, probably pretty stupidly and possibly futilely, Reginald would probably think, in order to take his power away from him, we should keep him alive. Don't allow him to die.
That kind of threads into something that I was going to ask you guys out of character, so Georgiana still has that vial of the water of Animatea. The the first thought I actually had was to pour it on the painting to completely ruin it. But then even though it's, just a little while, but my second thought was along the lines of what Reginald said. Should I like pour it down Vauquelin's face and prevent him from dying? And yeah, I just wanted to throw that out and discuss with you guys. What do you guys think is a good idea?
Well, Reginald's plan was to maybe call out to either the rector or Georgiana, because he's staying away from what's going on between Eliza and Lady Purbeck, and he was just going to, maybe we could try and first aid him or something like that and assist each other. But I think that's a good idea. Really, I think I would some iteration of that is what I think. So I think Reginald would probably hasten to his side, to Vauquelin's side, and get down to him, pick him up while he's still sort of struggling. Quick, help me, someone. We must keep him alive. We must help him.
Okay. In that case, yeah, Georgiana will reach into a pocket, uncap that vial, and like pour it down his throat.
Yep.
Meanwhile, she will start like ordering Reginald around, and he'll notice, because I can't do accents, that she's speaking with a very Yorkshire type accent. And she's telling him to keep the paintbrush in place. And she, very much unlike Georgiana, she'll be sort of trying to take control of the situation, and, do first aid on him and sort of ordering him what to do, and just very, in a manner that's not very much like her own, like taking charge sort of thing. And can she do a medicine or first aid with Reginald assisting that?
You can. You can also roll, but yes, do that first. So you get a bonus die for Reginald, and you get a bonus die for the Waters of Animateur.
Okay.
So that is a 2 bonus die roll, please.
And it still failed.
Oh no.
Can I push that?
You can.
Just
You absolutely can.
This is the first time I've pushed a roll in this game.
So you understand when you push, if you fail this push, per the way you're role playing it, Sarah Brown will take temporary control of you.
I'm totally up for that.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
I was actually kind of hoping that would fail, but just because of what you said, but no.
No. Not this time. Not this time.
Not this time.
Not this time. Okay. So, Reginald. Not Reginald. Sorry, my apologies. Rector. You see people rescuing people from death. You see the 2 women in something going on over there. What do you want to
do? Well, I absent-mindedly reach for my good book. That's usually the way. Has this Vauquelin actually fallen in a particular place? Like, I'm thinking ritual-wise.
Oh, so they had fallen over the triptych that they had painted.
I was going to say the triptych.
And their blood was actually pooling into the triptych and being absorbed by it, I should make.
How big is the triptych?
It's pretty big. A decent sized triptych, You could get a couple of meters wide, a couple of meters, maybe a meter high.
Okay, all right. And this thing's absorbing the blood.
As in when it's all 3 pieces, not when it's the single pieces are probably about, let's say, 80 centimeters.
Yeah. Okay. Wide. And what were they of? The 3?
Now you're going to ask me difficult questions that I can't remember, that I don't know the answers to.
Were they of the 3 places, or were they of the 3 angels?
They were of death, the angel, and himself. So Togarini in the middle, him on one side, the Weeping Angel on the other.
All right. I think I'm going to just try and move it out of the blood pool, like where the blood is going.
Okay.
And just fold it up into its mobile form.
All right. So you're doing that.
Might just throw some holy water on it just to be on the safe side.
Just to be sure. Sure. Okay, so you're doing that.
Maybe flick a bit at Eliza on the way, just accidentally.
Reginald and Georgiana.
She's beyond that.
You guys.
She's immune.
Like, he's not dying. He's not getting better. I mean, the man's caused himself quite significant brain damage. But he's like just writhing, but he's not dying. He's not passing on. You have actually stopped him from dying.
Okay.
Oh, Reginald, you're mute.
That's because I've run out of ideas. Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where you guys are at. So he is held, but he's not dying. He's failing to die, for want of better language. The paintbrush is still stuck in his eye, but he's mouthing words and lying there and seemingly paralyzed.
I think Reginald might then get some material or something and just stick it in his gob. And he's also just keeping one eye on Miss Hastings as well, in case she wants to help him finish his spell. So that's what Reginald is doing.
Now, at the same time, Georgiana, to your point, Sarah Brown thinks that what you've done is amazing. Exactly the right call, by the way. Sarah Brown, big fan, thinks that you're learning well. Feels a little bit of apprentice pride. But she does whisper to you, that paintbrush, that's gonna have some serious power. Like, we could just rip that thing right out, staunch the eye, and keep it. Like, she's very clear that grabbing that paintbrush, he spent a lot of time enchanting that paintbrush. It could be quite the thing. So she shares that with you, just in case, you feel any interest or inspiration arising from that. Now, Eliza and Lady Purbeck. Lady Purbeck. She's grabbed you underneath your rib cage, to quote, hooked a finger around one of your ribs and threatened you. You're further away from everyone else than you thought you were. So you and Eliza are further away than you thought you were. Like, they're kind of distant. They're over there. They're doing their thing. It's just you and Eliza right now.
Yeah.
You've got her shoulder in your grip. But you also realize that you've got women around you. Women from your social circle. Women who you played, whist.
Bridge. Oh, bridge. So much bridge.
Yeah, so much bridge with. The sort of women who understand what is right and proper. And they're all there with you. And they are telling you, if you punish her properly, you'll finally be part of this group. You'll never have to worry again about judgment, because everyone will know you will do anything to be proper.
I would actually take a prominent role, the role I should always have had.
Correct.
In that group. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you were the one that was a widow. You were the one with the two daughters. You didn't have a son. One of the daughters was actually your daughter. One of them was, adopted. But, whatever.
These are my awards, but I have actually got 5 children. So
Do you?
yeah, I do have 5 children and I've got 3 sons. So it's not quite right. But
Okay.
these girls that I have taken under my wing, like after I've successfully raised my own children, like they were sent to me to guide them through society. And I have taken my hands off the reins.
You have.
Absolutely, I have. I have given these girls freedom that they could not cope with. I have put them in situations they were not able to be responsible in. And look what has happened. They have gone so far astray, and now it is my responsibility to bring them back into the fold of society. And also, right at this moment, she's appalled at what Eliza has done to her. Nobody has ever touched her like that before. She's never had that kind of aggression shown to her by another person, let alone a young, frail girl. So she's going to keep that hand on the shoulder and just like slam down with that other hand to like knock her hands out of the way.
Okay. Make a brawling roll for me, please.
Oh, actually, I should go to combat. Cool. No, they're offhand.
So can I say, as she goes to do this, I think that's the moment, like the hand's coming down, she's a bit off kilter, and so Eliza kind of pushes back on her and wriggles out of that grip and takes a few steps back.
Okay, you can make a dodge roll or a brawl roll, your call, to escape the grip.
Sure. Okay. Do, 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 do. Yeah, I'll try a dodge roll.
Okay, there you go. Oof.
Hard success.
Hard success. All right.
Yeah, little shoulder just like.
Yep, just slips out.
Yep.
Okay, now Eliza, you've got a whole bunch of voices with you. They're a different kind of voice. And they're a lot more, barbed wire voices kind of voices. But they are definitively, there are 2 things you're being told right now. One is Togarini will embrace you if you give Togarini what she's due. And the second voices are saying, you don't have to stay with this ordinary world. All you need to do is step 1 step to the left, and you can leave it all behind.
Yeah. I think, I think we have had a very long and successful Cthulhu campaign. But I think that I have to be true to the character in this moment. And I think Eliza, like before she does anything, I think she feels the heaviness of uh her diary or her journal under her her bosom. She takes it out and it opens itself to a page, an early entry that she had, right before she was sent to Lady Purbeck. And it talks of how her father, very much wanted her to change her ways, that she was willful, that she was kind of not even the marrying kind, who would want her the way that she is. She needs to learn how to change, how to be acceptable. And as the book opens, Eliza lets it fall to the ground and it just kind of begins to flick and flick. And it's the same messaging, that she got from her father, that she got from her mother, that she gets from Lady Purbeck, that she's not enough, that she needs to change, that she's either she's either not feminine enough or she's being too girlish, too feminine in the way that she behaves. And I think that as the kind of like the pages move, I think it really shakes her how many of the pages are stained with tears. And the idea of stepping to the left and letting all of that be just what it was, a story. Just as much of a story as Valaquin and his paintbrush. And I think that with a steely determination, recognizing that Lady Purbeck is just another one of those people who are trying to hold her back, she looks towards her and says, I will no longer exist in the shadow of your expectation. She takes out her gun and she is about to shoot Lady Purbeck.
Yes.
So
I was hoping you were going to pull the gun.
Absolutely.
It's all I wanted in my life.
If we're in point blank range, do I get a bonus die?
I believe you do.
Great, excellent. And I only get one round, right? Yes.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah,
this is
great.
a flintlock.
Yes, perfect. All right. So, oops, here we go. Target. Targeting Lady Purbeck. How do I target again? You press the.
It might not be working because
okay, sure.
I don't have you guys in combat.
That's okay. I will roll just pistol with one bonus die. I can't push a combat roll, can I?
I'm not sure. Lily, our reference check capability. Can you push a combat roll?
Coccarini is enjoying this all the way. It won't matter how it goes.
That you can push combat rolls, with the rationale being that it's something that you're actually doing over again. Like, it's not just you're rolling again, it's your character is doing something over again, and you can't sort of redo a combat roll, if that makes sense. Like, it wouldn't you can't shoot twice, essentially.
You can use luck though.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to be using it for anything else after this.
True. I'm going to spend 14 luck to make that a success.
Fair enough. All right. And
I deal 1d6 plus 1. 3.
3 points of damage to the Lady Purbeck. Lady Purbeck, you have been shot. Your ward has indeed shot you. Everyone, Lady Purbeck is shot. Lady Purbeck, what would you like to do in response?
Oh. Fury! This moment kind of overpowers the pain that is coming from her body right now. She doesn't even feel the burning of it because she's just burning with rage.
Sounds legit. Yeah.
And she just feels this overwhelming need to just crush this child.
Yeah.
Push her down so she will submit to what she must endure.
Okay, roll a brawl skill for me, please.
Okay. 21.
All right. Roll your damage, which is 1d3 plus 1d4.
I think I can dodge, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, fair point.
Let me see if I can dodge.
Yeah.
First, I probably won't, but we'll see.
No, you got a hard success last time.
No, I don't.
And actually, you rolled a 66, which, is oddly apposite. Okay. In which case it's a D3 and a D4 for depunching.
Okay.
Because you're big and strong and terrifying.
Okay, so that's
So
what is that?
That's easy. We
So
can
that
pop it open. So you rolled 7 points of damage actually, because you rolled a 6
Okay.
on the D6, which halved is 3, plus 4 for the 4 that you rolled is 7. Okay, so here's what actually happens. And sorry, I'm going to be. Both of you will need new characters.
Great.
Okay, got most of mine done.
Yeah.
So to the rest of you, you actually see them spiraling away. Like, they are now folded into their own conflict. They are trapped in the purgatory of their own creation. They are actually in hell, living out their hell. Violently, the pistol goes off repeatedly, the punch that lands repeatedly, and both of them roll away from you effectively in that process. For each of you, the end of this journey is in the future and promises actually that you will both, in effect, become demons. You will become the very things that you represent. Angel and Death Angel, rejecter of order, creator of order. Neither of you are good, and maybe both of you are evil, but you will torture each other until you take your final steps into the path of the future that you have created for yourselves.
You hear the fading words of the rector saying, "Forgiveness is the key." That's really about it.
That's probably about right. Well, the rector was right.
It's better than "I told you so."
And you three, the remaining three of you, have got Toggerini in your not Toggerini, fuck, Valaquin in your hands. He's, as I described earlier, he seems to be not dying, but not getting better, right? Like the ministrations don't do that. And so you've actually paused him in the moment of his greatest ritual before he completes it.
Is there a? Can I? Well,
yeah, go.
I have this theory that that we could possibly try and get the blood back into him, reverse the absorption.
So you can
just. The only thing I can think of is doing it by will, opening up this triptych and willing it.
You actually might be able to do it. So make a
turn wine into blood or blood into wine roll.
Well, yeah. I was wondering if, since the rector now has the stigmata, he could do some laying on of hands.
Oh,
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, because remember, this is pre-blood types. Every transfusion is a success because, you know, it's the great scene from the Holmes Dracula files, is when Dracula's pointing out to Sherlock Holmes that the real reason all those people died is because Van Helsing was just dumping blood from random people into their bodies, and that was what was killing them. It wasn't Dracula's fault at all, which is, you know, fair and valid and scientifically true, so I give it extra points. Holmes Dracula file, great book. Would you care to make a power roll for me, please?
Yeah.
So, Rector Cedric Postlethwaite.
Any variations to that power roll?
I reckon you've got enough power that you can just, you know, Jones it on your own.
All right, let's see how we go. Come on, baby. 22.
Hard success. Okay, you can actually pump your own blood into his body and force him to recover.
Excellent.
I will be asking for a D6 of hit points damage, please.
Sorry, how many?
D6.
Woohoo! All right.
Oh,
One.
Ah.
Yeah.
I was going for the TPK. I was going to deliver on Reginald's dream, which is that he's the one burying everyone else.
No, I've been carrying some wounds with me, so I've known how to manage them right now.
Clearly. All right. You are able to stop him from dying, and actually reverse, in effect, the process. By the way, Georgiana, Cerebrand's kind of pissed about that, because actually what he's actually doing is disrupting, like he's kind of unenchanting the whole thing that went down, which means the paintbrush is less good than it was before he started dicking around with it. We could have done stuff with that paintbrush. We could have done some really, really interesting things.
There will be other such things, and I guess maybe unfortunate for Sarah Brown, maybe not. Maybe the fact that she is now influencing her, Georgiana is actually getting more of a spine and talking back to her. And she basically just says, "No, we're leaving this for now."
She is disappointed by this news, but
there will be other such things, because I think Georgiana, seeing Eliza and Lady Purbeck vanish, she's pushed that to the side for now, which will be serious psychological damage in the future. Her two people who she dearly, dearly loves have just ripped each other apart and vanished into something. But, suppress that. Traumatic.
Push it right down, deep down.
Yeah, that, exactly. Deal with it later.
That's
now,
how you deal with trauma, right?
We're trying to get out of this weird hellscape. Maybe everything will be okay, but she's sure as hell not going back to her old life. So there's probably only one path open to her now. Then again, she's
a nunnery.
No.
They don't have nunneries in England anymore.
No.
They do. That's not
pretty
fair.
sure the rector has another son somewhere, doesn't he? Is that right?
No.
No, the last one was married off.
I've only got a daughter.
To Miss Millwood.
Mm.
And she's not interested in a daughter, that's for sure. He says naively. Right.
By one path, I meant sort of vanishing out of this world into, a different one that Sarah Brown has been encouraging her to go towards. But anyway.
Yes. That's the one. That is the one that Sarah Brown thinks she should be heading towards. It's time to go walking in the woods and leave all of this society shit behind. And then we'll grow in power, and then we'll come back and we'll make them all pay. All of those men. Sarah Brown does not like, the patriarchy, men in general. Not a fan. Feels some genuine, not a fan. Okay, so you're back in the room.
Okay.
Well, three of you are. You've got Valaquin with you. He's on the desk. He's held between life and death, maybe more alive than dead now. There's just the three of you in the room. There's no noise from outside.
I'll have a listen this time.
Okay, make a listen roll for me, please.
Far out. No noise.
It's pretty
quiet. Can't hear anything.
Eliza, Reginald, do you want to listen at the door?
Wait, but aren't I dead?
Yes, I'm spiraling off into
Georgiana.
Saying to me.
But yeah, I will.
Georgiana.
I'm just going to quietly bind his arms together. Okay. Something.
He's much older than he appeared to be in the space you went to.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Things are unraveling.
No, for Georgiana.
All right. Well, once I've done binding him, I can have a listen. I guess and try.
Yeah.
No,
No.
not so much. Sounds like the coast is clear.
So exits are that main door with the carnage.
Yeah.
Are there other exits? I mean, there's the hallway.
There's the two. There's the corridor that you could see the desert
Morocco.
Sirocco wind coming through. It is just a corridor.
Okay.
Does Valquin look older? You said he looked older than he was there. Does he look older now than what he looked when we saw him at the beginning of the festival?
The exhibition at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looks older than he was. Does he look older than when we know he died?
Those claws are too sharp.
Oh, look at that!
Wow, those claws are fucking sharp at the moment. Okay. No, that's not happening. That was genuinely blood drawing material.
I guess
he
Reginald's trying. Yeah.
He looks older.
How?
He looks like a man in his sort of late 50s.
Right. Do we just get out of here now and maybe use, maybe Rector, you could use your connections and get him locked up in some way? Say he attacked you, a man of the cloth, and maybe he could be locked up or something. I feel that he wants to die. He wanted to die. That was the whole point. So if we could get him maybe locked up in somewhere, asylum or something, maybe. I do not know. Maybe.
Sorry to ask. While Reginald is talking to the rector, Georgiana's going to look around the room. How does the room look? Like, is it back to what it was before all of this happened? Is it still that medieval one? Is it the darker, wetter iteration? Is it something different again?
It looks like it did at the start. You're in an 1815, 1816 sort of room. You've got the slanted desks. You've got normal but reasonably heavy drapes. You have... It looks normal. To your eyes, anyway.
Whilst Georgiana's ignoring Reginald, I'm going to go and actually open the door into the room. The horrors.
Yeah.
I'm not fully opening it. I'm doing one of those nice sort of peer-ins and see what I can see.
It's dark. There's no one there.
There's literally no one there?
No one.
Do we know what the hall was used for prior to this? Was it?
It's an exhibition space for art and other things.
Okay.
Is the art there? Is it just
there are paintings on the walls? There is. It appears to be. You've opened the door into a dark. It's late at night. There's paintings on the wall. There's no actual light. You can't hear or see anyone.
Any sign of... Oh, sorry. I mean, I guess it's the rector, but is there any sign of like blood or fighting or anything?
There isn't. The smell of blood is probably the more...
No sign of it.
I actually, in my feeble state, walk out into the room.
Sacrificial lamb.
Your footsteps echo on the floor. You're the only noise in the whole space.
Okay. I'll walk to the other end.
It's dark. You walk to the other end. There's no sign of anything.
Okay. And the paintings, or I look at a painting, nothing out of the ordinary, just some
kind of standard, kind of Turner or thereabouts, kind of fair,
misty morning. Yeah.
misty mornings, and hounds chasing rabbits or foxes.
I just like, are they watching me?
I assume so.
Well, I don't know. Are they?
Um,
I
yeah, I
bet
think
you over.
Georgiana will.
I
Reginald, do you and Georgiana want to take Jacqueline, or manhandle him out?
Yes, I think so. He does not want to let him out of his sight. He wants until he can make sure he doesn't want him to have his liberty at all. I think. Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, I beckon you over with him.
Okay.
I think it's okay.
Okay.
I'm looking around because this is such a shock. I'm looking for some sort of thing, a button that's been dropped or something like that you just go, this doesn't feel right.
It's just empty, echoing space.
And there are windows, I assume. So can we see? Is it day or nighttime outside?
It's definitely nighttime.
Okay.
If you look out some of the windows, you can see you're in London, so you can
The city
see
lights. Yeah.
you can see some light from lanterns and other things that are hung and suspended in various places. You can see some buildings that are lit, although it's quite late by this point, so you don't see street lights per se.
Any people?
You can hear people. Might even see one or two walking quietly but hurriedly past the building.
Okay. So before we open any doors or anything, Reginald, very like in a fierce whisper, would be saying, "Okay, we need a plan. We need to go somewhere where we are safe. We need, because there will be questions about the Viscountess and her ward. We need to go and get this man, this awful man, locked away for forever, but not dead. And we need to go somewhere and to mourn, I think, which is only just. We have lost some important people, and regardless of how that happened, we need to think about them and celebrate them, and make sure that we are in our own reality. What do you think, Rector? Do you have enough sway that you could get someone committed for something, heresy or something like that, or locked away, or?
Well, I mean, by what he's done, I mean, that alone should lock him away. But yes, we can, but it will require a doctor to certify him and the like. And, we can work that out.
But there will be questions. There will be questions as to where is the Viscountess and Miss Hastings. We do not even have bodies. There is nothing. We need some sort of plan or some sort of. I do not like to say story because that means we are diminishing their loss. We need to find a place of safety, get this awful man away from us.
Perhaps for now we should simply go back to the Viscountess's establishment, and we can organize our thoughts there.
We
should.
It was only a walk from there to where we are, right?
Yep.
we probably don't want to be walking around at night time with a,
But you would have come in my carriage, and so the carriage should still be waiting for you.
Right.
That's true. You would have ridden.
Yeah, that is problematic in its own way. The Viscountess said we could get a lift home with.
You are known to my staff, so they will go with it. Like
Georgiana is still her ward. I mean, that's very true.
Yeah.
Okay. Forgive me. I have some experience with being on the wrong side of establishments and being blamed for things. And I am not a native here, so I feel like I would be the first one to be blamed. Yes, let us find some shelter.
Okay.
Yeah.
The carriage is outside. The carriageman stands on it. He's got a gun, kind of, because it's dark and it's London and it's the 1810s. So he's not an idiot, but he's there. When he sees the three of you come out, he goes, my lady, good to see you. I've been waiting for you, and looks directly at you, Georgiana.
Yes, thank you very much. Miss Hastings and the Lady Purbeck may be following after, but for now we just need to get back to the Lady Purbeck's estate. Would you kindly drive us there, post haste?
I'm sorry, my lady. Who are these two individuals you are mentioning? I don't recall you bringing any guests with you.
Quite right. We will go back to... We will head home now.
Of course.
And I guess
he quite happily helps you manhandle the body into the
drunken associate. Yes, yeah. Assailant. Oh, that's okay. That's yep.
Shit. Yeah, we remember them.
You arrive back at the estate. It's not as big as you remember, but it's still quite luxurious.
Okay, and we go in. What happens?
You're greeted by the housekeeper who's been woken up to greet you. She looks a bit bleary-eyed at you, but of course greets you. My lady, I'm glad that you've come back. We were quite worried that you were out so late. Did you enjoy the showing of the art, my lady?
No, it was rather vulgar, if I'm being quite honest. Would you please get us some refreshments in the drawing room? I wish to talk to the rector and these two privately.
Of course, my lady. Nothing would bring me greater pleasure. She moves away. You go into the drawing room, and there on the walls are all of your relatives, all of your aunts, your uncles, your father, your mother, both passed away now. There's a painting of two women. It's an art piece. It's not a member of your family, at least not one that you directly recall. Effectively the oldest fate and the younger fate, weaving a web together of the future. You look at them; they look familiar. They seem to be contesting the future in the weaving that they're doing.
Okay. And by this point, do the rest of them still remember Eliza and the Lady Purbeck, or?
You three can recall almost everything about your companions, just not quite what they look like.
Okay.
You are knowing them in the absence of the spaces in your head. and no one else remembers Eliza Hastings or Lady Purbeck. At least not in this world. Okay. And that's where we'll stop it.
Wow.
Holy shit.
A masterstroke, gotta say.
Oh.
Wow. That was bloody brilliant, but also quite disturbing. But wow.
Now we know where they call it the Attrocity Museum.